And we're doing it's your neighborhood AM Jesus Shades Wade. Ugh. I'm out of my coffee. There's only amaretto coffee or some shit. It's not as good. Ugh. So as you can see, I'm awake at 6 in the morning because I woke up at 10 p.m. That's right. I went to sleep at like 4:30 and woke up at 10 p.m. And I've been up all night. Justin says, what the fuck? Where you been, Justin? Haven't heard from you in a while. He says, what the fuck? It's true. We got 2 damn AM people. Yeah, I didn't expect anybody to come in here, honestly. Thought I'd just be working. Was away yesterday, so I missed your S2K stream. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I've always admired S2000s, but me being 6'2" and I'm a fairly skinny, well, not like super skinny, but not super large person. There's no room in that car whatsoever. They shouldn't even have a seat bracket on it, you know, like a seat slider to move it forward and back. There's no fucking room in that car. it reconfirmed how much I love RSX, you know what I mean? So the hunt for the RSX is still thriving, because I was thinking about getting an S2000, honestly, like, but Justin says, I did watch some of it and heard you say the VTEC sucks. Well, it's not that it sucks, like it goes, but it just doesn't feel that quick. You know, it feels quicker than a stock RSX, no doubt. And like the crossover point, like a VTEC point and a stock RSX, it doesn't sound that great. But then once you get, you know, intake and you can hear it more, then you get header and exhaust and K-Pro and all that stuff. I mean, the car just keeps growing and growing. And I'm sure a modified S2000 is probably, you know, awesome. But yeah, the parts are super expensive, and you know, it's a 2-seater car. There's no cargo space. You can't even, I got the seat all the way back and I feel fucking scrunched up like I'm in a fucking fighter jet or something. It handles good. I'll say it handles good. It wasn't slow, but it wasn't fast. And yeah, it's just hard to put into words. It's just, and not to mention they were dicking us around on the processing fee, the dealer processing fee. They wanted $800 for a processing fee on a cash transaction. Cash, not a payment plan, not financing. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, it's reconfirmed the fact that I just love the DC5 is the chassis for me. It's not that I don't like other chassis. I'm sure I'd be content in a DC2 if I could find an Integra Type R like Broke Dad Garage. Oh my god, I'd be all over that in a heartbeat, because that'd just be, they only made 668 of those cars. There's only 668 DC2 Type Rs, real ones, out there, and all of them are owned. Literally. And if you find one, it's like 30 grand in decent shape. Justin says, true that. I think it's best as a Sunday driver or something. Exactly. Like if somebody like take Gato, for example, he has 5 cars and he says his favorite one's the S2000, but that's if he didn't have, you know, I'm sure if he didn't have those 4 other cars, it wouldn't be his favorite car. You know what I mean? Because it's a car strictly for the sake of driving cars. You know, you don't care about having any passengers other than one person, and you don't care about cargo. You don't care about being comfortable. You just care. I like driving an S2000. You know what I mean? It's just, it's crazy. Cameron says everything I said about the S2. Yeah, for real, man. You're saying how it wouldn't, it's a fun car to drive, but it's not a good daily driver. I should have totally read that comment like 70 times back. Just like, it's not a good daily driver. Like, you know, I thought you meant because of the cargo space or something like that. But literally, it's like, it's not a comfortable car if you're 6 foot tall. And I'm 6'2". So I drove it with the top down. And I'm sure if I had the top up, it would have been even more sketchy. Like, just fucking the roof's right here. And it's literally not even about the head space necessarily. It's the leg space. You know, you can't put the seat back because in my RSX, I ride and drive with the seat all the way back. Like that's how long my legs are. So that gives you an idea. Like I literally got in the S2000. I was like, how do I put the seat back further? He's like, oh, it's already all the way back. I'm like, fuck that. This sucks. And not to mention it didn't have the factory stereo in it. That's not really that big of an issue, but in the picture it had the stock stereo. Then they had some fucking Walmart aftermarket like $50 head unit singled in. It was just garbage. I couldn't stand it. Justin says, yeah, DC2R, good luck. Yeah, exactly. They're hard to find. And if you find one, it's like on an auction block for like 20 to 30 grand, depending on condition and miles. Cameron says, I sat in Mom's without the seat on the floor, and it was heaps better. Yeah, I bet. But even at that, I can't imagine. Those seats are pretty low profile. They're not like super bulky or anything. So like I can imagine you know, the seat, like even if you got like a racing bucket seat or something like that, it wouldn't help that much, honestly. And the windshield visibility, the windshield is super narrow. Like you have to have the top down to like be kind of aware of all your surroundings because the windshield is just so small and narrow. Like I hate cars that have a narrow windshield. I can't stand that shit. Justin says RSX is so good. It has a combination of comfort, practicality, and performance. Absolutely. I mean, a stock one is, you know, it's not a fast car by any means. I mean, it's not slow, but a stock RSX Type S versus a stock AP1 S2000, pretty sure the S2000 is going to win. But once you start modifying it, I mean, I'll just say hands down that stock AP1. If I still had my car and it was a heads-up race from a dig, I would blow the fucking doors off of AP1 stock S2000. Like my car with the mods I had on it, like fuck, it would just destroy it. Launch control, lighter flywheel, stage 1 clutch, short shifter, like all that shit. I like the K series gearbox so much more. I'd rather have smoother shifts as opposed to shorter shifts like in the S2000 because the gearbox didn't feel that great, honestly. Cameron says, got an Alpine head unit in ours hooked up to the factory controls. Nice, nice. Yeah, an Alpine or a Pioneer, you know, I mean, they're top of the line. They're good stuff. Like this thing didn't even have a brand name on it, like a logo at all. It was just like some random shit that looked super trashy. I was like, why is this in here? Justin says, bet you were feeling claustrophobic. Absolutely. Like my nuts were about to like be in my throat. Cameron says the sun visor is useless in the S2K for me. Can't see shit with it down. Yeah, I can imagine, dude. Like the way the windshield looked, it reminded me like of when I had my RSX and I didn't have a banner, and then I got a banner. The windshield is, you know, 7 inches more narrow. But even at that, you can still see the visibility is great in the RSX with a windshield banner. But it's almost like imagine getting like 2 of those windshield banners, like so it's 14 inches more narrow. That's like how it's something about the height of it and the width of it. I mean, it's such a teeny tiny car. I can't get on board with it. Like for a daily driver, maybe for a track car, but not for a daily driver. No way. No fucking way. But yeah, I've been hunting around trying to see what's, you know, within like a couple, you know, 100 or 200 miles. That's pretty much the, you know, travel bracket, you know, radius I want to be in, because I don't want to drive, you know, 4 or 5 hours away, even if it's at a dealership, because you just never know. Justin says, I believe it. Would chicks fit in it? Little chicks, not fat chicks. that jelly roll will be hanging over on the roof button, making it go up and down while you're driving. Well, I guess not while you're driving, because it has that mechanism, that electronic voltage, that if the car's in motion, you can't put the top up and down, but all you have to do is snip the, I think it's the orange wire, and just like put a butt connector on it, and you can, you know, open up the top at your own will while you're still in motion, which is, you know, little hack I learned the other night. Before I did that, I was like researching S2000 shit, little tricks and stuff like that, and seeing if the AP1 was better, the AP2. The AP1 is definitely better. Charger on the S2K makes a big difference. Oh, dude, I bet, man. I bet it's a fucking nasty car with a supercharger on it, for real. Or ITBs, like some people like to go all motor with it. Me personally, I think it's more money probably to get a proper NA setup as opposed to a proper supercharger setup. But to me, something about the NA platform, the more and more I think about it, it's just the power's all there. You know what I mean? I'm not saying supercharger's not badass, and it definitely makes more power once you crank up the boost. But like having ITBs, that's like my all-time dream. Just individual throttle bodies. I don't know what it is about it. It just looks so fucking cool. An instant throttle response too, you know? Cameron says, yep, a sardine can. LOL. Something's fishy about it. I mean, one thing I will say, I was like, I don't even know if I would say impressed, like almost like scared of, was how sensitive the steering is. Like literally, like when you like, let's say you do like little straddle weave to warm up your tires, you know, you start going, you start like cutting and weaving in and out. I mean, it's so responsive. It's like oversteer basically. I don't like it. I like sensitive steering. The RSX has great steering, but like literally it's too much. Like if you cut the wheel too much, you're gonna oversteer like a motherfucker. Justin says, does the S2000 have no torque? It's got 152 feet-pounds of torque, and my car had stock 142 feet-pounds of torque. So it has 10 feet-pounds of torque more, and it weighs about 150 pounds less. Weighs about 27 and some change, and a stock RSX weighs about 2840. So it's about 100 pounds more light with 10 more feet-pounds of torque, and it still doesn't feel that fast, like honestly. Justin says, yeah, I heard it had oversteer, no go for a daily. Oh, I mean, it's hard to put into words. Like in a straight line, feels great, feels real solid, but like once you start making like quick big turns, like it's a lot of oversteer, honestly. Very overly sensitive steering. And I mean, it could just be I'm used to McPherson struts in the front as opposed to double wishbone like most Hondas are or something. I don't know. But I just think the RSX is the perfect middle road between old Honda and new Honda. You know what I mean? Especially if we're being like, I mean, even if it's a 02, an 04, 05, or 06, I mean, it really doesn't matter what year it is necessarily. They all perform ridiculously good. But I mean, you know, when you go back to like the 80s and 90s Hondas, or, you know, 95, 97, you know, mid 90s, early 90s, whichever Honda, those Hondas still are fucking badass. Don't get me wrong, but like they definitely, the interior is like a lacking factor. Like I know interior is not everyone's thing, but the RSX, the interior, you look at it nowadays and it doesn't look dated. It looks like, you know, it doesn't look like a 16-year-old car. Hey, Cameron sent me a photo. What up? Justin says, that's odd. It has double wishbone. It does. The S2000, not the R. The RSX has McPherson strut system. God, that thing looks amazing. That looks really clean, dude. Zippy 2. Cameron says S2K has electric power steering. I noticed that too on the cluster. It says EPS. I was like, electric power steering? Hmm. Justin says, his RSX? No, it's his S2000. Fucking, look at this supercharged beauty. That's a build right there. Zippy 2 ain't fucking around. That's it. That's his mom's S2000. That's so fucking cool. Cameron says 295 horsepower. That's on 8 pounds, right? That's the car you're talking about that's on 8 pounds of boost? Justin says looks amazing. Cameron says she's 73. That's awesome. Yeah, 295. I'd imagine like 295 would it's at two, do you know if the 240 horsepower when they say S2000 AP1 has 242? Is that at the flywheel or is that at the fucking wheels? I'd imagine it's like the crank or the flywheel. Cameron says, yeah, 8 PSI. Justin says, wow, your mom is rad. Because like they say the RSX has 200 horsepower. That's like how they advertise. It's like it's got 200 horsepower, but that was at the flywheel. So it knock off about 20 horsepower off that figure because it puts down about one. Type S puts down about 180 to the wheels, give or take. So that means the S2000 is 240 at the flywheel. That means it's probably putting about 220-ish down to the wheels, which is, pretty wild style. Justin says, how about a stock DC2? Are you talking about which DC2? The GSR, the Type R? Because the Type R is something special. Like that has 200 to the wheel, basically, like from the get-go. Just says a GSR. GSR has like 160, I think, or 165. Oh, ugh, coffee. Ugh. Don't you hate it when you run out of your brand of coffee? You bum someone else's brand of coffee, and it's something you don't like. Justin says, have you seen any around for sale? GSRs? Nothing that really just like wows me. You know what I mean? Cameron says Type R is 220 at the flywheel. The DC2 Type R or DC5? DC5 Type R is 220 to the wheels, or brake horsepower, as the Japanese in Europe call it, not wheel, BHP. Uh, but the DC2 Type R, I thought that one had like 200 at the flywheel, so it's like 180. Cameron says DC5. No, I thought it had 220 to the wheels. Because they say it's BHP, like brake horsepower. I thought. Because if you think about it, that would be like, well, I guess they advertise the RSX as 200 horsepower, so it's 180, so it'd still be a platform up from RSX. Cameron says K20Z1 is 210 at the flywheel, 157 at the wheels. God damn, that's horrible. That transfer? Because the Type S is like 180. They in America, the RSX Type S was advertised to have 200 horsepower. And they try to, you know, make it seem like it's at the wheels, but it's at the flywheel. So then like they put down like, you know, 180 to the wheel, which is awesome, you know. That's only a 20 horsepower loss. Like K20Z1 210, and it's putting down like 160, just rounded up to 160 at the wheels. That fucking blows. You're losing 50 horsepower between the transfer. God damn. Crazy stuff. But yeah, I'm debating, honestly, just like we might be going back to the honestly, I think we're going back to the route of getting a shell, like a donor shell. Because excuse me, fucking I mean, feasibly I could use my shell, but it's just gonna be so hard. That VIN number on that car is gonna be a pain in the ass, right? Because it has a salvage flood, a non-repairable parts title now. So what we gotta do is get another RSX and just try to save or rebuild my motor and get all my parts out of it and just throw that shit in another RSX. That's Karen says advertised by the manufacturer is always at the flywheel or crank. Yep. Very true. Yeah, I don't know what I would get honestly at this point, because like let's say I spend 3 to 5 grand on another RSX with in running condition, you know what I mean? And then spend the other 5 on a K20A or a TSX motor for 1,000. I mean, like a K swap honestly cost about, you know, let's say I go K24A2 bottom end, Type S head, you know, it's $220 for a shimmed Type S oil pump that'll fit a K24, and then the 50-degree VTC gear, and then a couple, you know, upgraded timing chain, upgraded tensioner, make sure the compression and everything's good. That would be a given though. And then a pair of seats maybe, and that's about it, honestly. Just be happy. Be like, hey, K20, K24. Fuck y'all. Because that was what I wanted to do anyway. Dude, it's crazy to think that everything that's happened has gotten me more in the direction of wanting to do the K20, K24, because it's just the way to go. So much makes such good fucking power. And dude, you want to know something crazy? Surge Motive setup. I mean, any of you guys don't know who Surge Motive is. He runs a K20, K24 Frankenstein setup in his DC5, and he runs a 12 flat. He has the K24A4 or A1, not the A2, not the TSX one. He has like I think it's the CRV K24, and the TSX one is the nasty one. You know what I mean? Like you can use any of them, but the K24A2 specifically is the one that's the top of like the upper echelon of the K24 Frankenstein swaps. You know, it's the one that's going to make the most power, the highest compression and all that. And yeah, so like if he's putting down with his bolt-ons and all his tune and stuff like that, they put down 273. So if you do K24A2 with a K20A2 head, and you have like really nice bolt-ons and a really good tune, you're going to probably hit 300 horsepower. For real, though. Fucking crazy to think, man. Because I totally thought he had the K24A2 with his Type S head and was making 273. I was like, damn. I was like, why aren't you making 300? But now you know. It's crazy. Justin says you want the A2. Yeah, because if you're going that route, if you're putting that much effort in, you might as well get the TSX bottom end instead of the CRV bottom end. It's got higher compression. Makes more power. Like when you do a K24A2 bottom end, a TSX bottom end, you're going to get about 50 horsepower and 50 feet-pounds of torque difference, which is, just crazy. You're going to be putting in anywhere from 240 to 250 horsepower to the wheels, and then anywhere from maybe 190 to 205 to the torque. So, I mean, it's like, 240, 250 on horsepower and about just rounded to 200 feet-pounds of torque, as opposed to having 142 feet-pounds of torque on a stock Type S motor, which is, that fucker will go 200 feet-pounds of torque in a car that's well under 3,000 pounds. Like, it's like a go-kart. But yeah, TSX motor, it's like in good and really cherry condition. It's like, I think it's about like $1,000 to $1,200. You can get a junkyard one for like 300, 400 bucks or something like that. But I'd rather just find one that's like really well taken care of from some warehouse or shop or something like that has a spare one, and grab that for $1,000 and essentially start building this motor. Like, it seems like motors and transmissions scare the shit out of me because I've never worked on K series that in depth. I've just done bolt-ons, and suspension work and brake work basically, but and interior work, which is like nothing. But putting together a motor, if you do your homework and you have the checklist and the torque specs and all that shit, and you fucking take your time, shouldn't be any problem. Oh, and also, you'll be glad to know I talked to Gato last night, and I was like, just, hey, was there a live stream today? I missed it. He was like, oh yeah, but it was a short one. It was only like 10 minutes. We were having brunch or something like that. And I asked him just as a joke. I was like, hey, if I pay you a couple $100, will you take down that video of that dickhead's car? And he was like, thinking it over, and he was like, yeah, I decided I'm going to take it down. I was like, yes. Fuck that guy. He doesn't I was like, what I was saying was, I was like, I mean, I want you to get views and all that stuff. You've already got like almost 3,000 views on that video in a few days. So obviously it's a popular video. But I was like, it just like feels weird, man. Like, I was like, this guy's getting showcased on your channel, and you have so many subscribers, and they're going to think this guy's awesome. And like, he's a fucking dickhead. Literally, like, he's not a good businessman. He's unprofessional, and he's a fucking asshole. And he's like, dude, you're absolutely right. He's like, I got your back before his. I was like, dude, fuck yeah, that's awesome. Justin says, awesome. That's right. Like, he built a clean car. I'm not gonna lie, or he paid people to build it. One of the two. I don't know. He says he built it all himself. How do we know? He's got one video on YouTube and 2 subscribers. I mean, we have no evidence that he built that car. People say they build cars all the time, but then they don't back it up. They don't film. They don't make videos. It's like, how do we know? You could have bought it that way. You could have paid a shop, But nonetheless, the setup was clean. But you're trying to tell me I wasn't going to change anything about the performance aspect of it. I was going to put red JDM Type R badging on it. Honda. Acura is owned by Honda. Why is that an insult? Cameron says, not hard to build. It's all bolt-on. Exactly. And that's going to be another thing too. Like, let's say for a while let's say I buy a RSX Type S, find another one for $5,000, bet 120, 150 or however many, like 150,000 miles on it, but it's well maintained. Drive it around as is, and while I'm waiting and gathering the TSX motor and gathering, all the stuff I need, basically, the intake header and exhaust and all that stuff, I can just put that all on myself. That'll give me something to jump back into, because like, the only reason I was getting the intake manifold and the throttle body and all that stuff put on at the shop, at my tech shop and stuff like that, was to save time basically because I wanted to get it all ready for H Day. But now, just do it myself and save money, you know what I mean? Justin says, is DC4 better than DC2? It's just a sub branch. I mean, it's not really any better or worse or anything. It doesn't have like a badass motor in it or anything. I mean, DC2s and DC4s look identical, basically. There's really not much difference. Cameron says the video is still up on Flying Got This channel. Yeah, he's gonna, when he releases his next video, he's gonna take it down once he releases another video because of the algorithm for monetization or something. He was telling me like, you know, if he just takes a video down, like he'll lose not like lose it altogether, but for like, you know, the next video or something. What he's explaining to me, like basically like he has to add another video to take one down or something like that. Justin says, what's the difference? Fucking, like, I'm not even sure, honestly. There's literally, here, let's look it up. I've always kind of wondered that, like, what the fuck makes a DC4 a DC4? DC2 versus DC4. The difference between a DC2 and a DC4 Integra. After this advertisement. Fucking advertisements.
Today we're going to talk about the difference between the DC2 and the DC4 Integra. Now, I see a lot of people online calling their cars DC2s. Zosh. But, you know, I understand why, because maybe it gets you better exposure. That's what people search for. And I completely get that. I use it too. That's usually what people associate Integras with. Just they call it DC2s because they either don't know about all the other chassis codes along that are associated with Integras or what, but that just seems to be the most common chassis code, and I kind of understand why. So I just figured, you know what, for people who don't know, let's just break it down really quick, make this like a 5-minute video on the differences between them. So the DC4 is basically the North American base model for the Integra. I'm not sure if that goes for anywhere else in the world. If you live somewhere outside of the North American region, let me know if you have a DC4 because, you know, I wouldn't know if they're out there. But as far as I'm concerned, it's only in Canada and the United States. I'm not sure about Mexico, but yeah, just let me know if DC4s are anywhere else in the world. It's known as the LS, which is the V18B1 non-VTEC engine.
So DC4 is LS,
that came
the
out
base
of the
model.
Honda Oretha, I think is the name of the car. I might be saying that completely wrong. But that's the engine it came out of, and that's the only
Justin
other
says, I was just watching that video. LOL.
that
He sounds
had a
gay.
V18B from the factory, I believe. It has cloth interior or leather interior, depending on which type of Integra you have, which we'll get to later. It comes with a sunroof, side moldings, a small spoiler, and is the most common Integra. So now I kind of figured I'd do a quick rundown of the different types of LS models from the Integra. So the LS has cloth interior, the GS has gray leather interior with gray door panels, the RS has cloth interior with no sunroof, and the SE is a green Integra with tan interior, which I can't stand to see. And I just noticed that dude in blue just bought an Integra, and it just so happened to be an SE. Next is the DC2 chassis code, which most people associate with. This I would consider to be a global chassis code because it's pretty much everywhere. It's in North America, Asia, Europe.
DC2 fucking Type R is so bad. Gabriel says DC4 in Australia too. So like DC2 technically is like just like the umbrella that all older style, or not oldest, but you know, the one before the DC5. They just generalize it and say all that is, oh, it's DC2. But then you get down to the trims, and DC4 is basically the LS and all the ones he said, you know, the GS and the fucking SE or whatever. Justin says, I love the tan and green combination. Yeah, I don't mind it. I think the tan definitely looks good with the green, but like once you get into this, like let's say you had a silver or a black or championship white or any of the other colors or red, I think the tan looks fucking horrible. Like in the DC5, like when you have the ones that have tan interior, I cannot stand it. I cannot stand the tan dashboard. I cannot stand the tan seats, paneling. The black just looked great, you know? So all the ones I've been seeing are all the ones I've been seeing that are up for sale, all the DC5s, a lot of them have, you know, fucking tan interior, and I'm like, oh, you're killing me. Gear Runner's here. What up, Gear? He says, I'll be listening in the background from my seat for a few. What's up, everyone? How you been doing, man? I don't know the last time you were here or not, but the supercharged RSX I was gonna buy that got flaked out. I don't know if you've heard about that. Pretty unprofessional dickhead. I actually got the personal loan and all that stuff, and this got fucking flaked out 12 hours before we were about to leave and go fucking drive 5 hours to Pennsylvania. Really dickhead move. And then he called me back an hour and was like, sorry, I got cold feet. You guys can come and get the car. I was like, no, we're not buying your car now because we can't trust your word. We could get 5 hours up the road and you're like, sorry, I'm not selling it. So funny. Gear Runner says, boring, that sucks. Justin says, hey, Gear, hope work is going well. Justin says, yep, that screams old people car color. That's kind of how I felt about the S2000. I like the outside color, the Suzuka blue, but then the interior is like navy blue. It's not like royal blue or, you know, Suzuka blue. It's like navy colored. I wasn't fucking with it. Like the silver and red would definitely look better in my opinion. But a S2000 in general, I don't know. It's not for me. Not a daily driver. I'm too tall. Justin says, sorry. Kieran says that sucks. The last few weeks here have been at work have been boring. Yeah, I bet, man. Fucking yeah. I really want to get on the boat and get like another job, basically, because like I just want to start stockpiling money, but I need a car to go to work, so it's like just trying to find an RSX, man. It's like I was so satisfied with what I had that it's so hard to replace that, or you know, not replace it with another chassis like I was thinking I was going to do with the S2000, but the whole trying to find a clean example of a RSX, it's so fucking hard. Justin says, I thought you were going to drive a white S2000 up in Manassas. Yeah, that's what the one I'm talking about. It's silver, actually. It's silver and has red leather interior. And that one looked a lot cleaner. Had 20,000 more miles on it and looked way cleaner. Looked like somebody, the first owner in Florida, he had it for 14 years. I'm pretty sure like it lived its whole life in a fucking garage. Justin says, how would you like a CRV? You could K-swap it. It's already got a K-swap in it. But yeah, I'm not a CRV fan by any means. Gear Runner says, I like the S2000. Dude, I love S2000s too, like from the outside and just, you know, what you see. Like, I don't know if you've ever driven one or not, but dude, it's not a fun driving experience for, like, if you have if you like cars for any practical or comfort aspect, S2000 is not the car for you. I'm 6'2", so I don't know how tall you are. You look like you're a fairly tall person, so like I can't imagine you having a fun time in an S2000. It's like I'm cramped. It shouldn't even have a seat slider on it. It should literally just have one seat position. Because I had the seat all the way back, and I was like, "Can I roll the seat back anymore?" He's like, "Yeah, no, you can't. It's all the way back." I'm like, "This sucks." I mean, it drove good. It's a Honda. I mean, it drives like a Honda. You know what I mean? But it's just there's no cargo space. You don't got no back seats. You're not going to be fucking any girl in the back seat. That's not happening. There is no back seat. Dude, I want to like see Guinness Book of World Records, like somebody's like first person to have sex in a Honda S2000. It's not in there. It's physically impossible. Gear Runner says I'm 6'2" as well. I had a BMW Z3, and I know what you mean. That was a tiny car. Yeah, same story. Cameron says try getting into a Miata. Fucking Justin says you could probably barely fit one in the front seat. Yeah, it was definitely a cramped ride, and that was with the top down. Like I said, the windshield has no visibility and oversteer, and there's just so many things to it. I mean, it's a peppy car from the outside. If you're just going off the body lines of the car and the chassis, it's a great looking car, but you get in it and you're like, this fucking blows. You got to be like 5'8" to enjoy that car. Justin says get an Odyssey and you won't have to worry about that. Yeah, it's too much space. That's too. See, I'm complaining about too little, and then you say the Odyssey, and I'm like, nah, it's too much. RSX, just right in the middle. It's the best of both worlds. Not too much, not too little. And I'd have to put a H22 in it and turbo and make it 700 horsepower to get my kicks. Justin says there can be too much. Well, yeah, because like I just don't need all that cargo space. If I was in a band, like my old bandmate used to have a Honda Odyssey, you know what I mean? And we would fit ridiculous amounts of fucking equipment in there for shows or going to pick up equipment from this music shop up in Maryland and stuff like that. Like, I mean, it has tons of space in there. You could literally have a powwow in that thing. Just fold down the back seats and like literally get high or drunk and have a party in there. Let's see. George Bonnie's here. He says, I love the 2003 CRVs. I mean, it's not the worst car. I'm just not, I don't like SUV. I don't want an SUV. I want something that's lightweight, two-door, coupe, RSX. pretty much what's on my plate right now. It's just, and all the parts I have, you know. All the parts I have are based around a K20A2 RSX Type S motor, so. Cameron says one of my mates got a turbo Odyssey. Is your mate boosted, boys? George Bonnie says not a first. Justin says, and with all that space comes body roll. Yeah, for real. George Bonnie says, not for everyone, but I get it, bro. I mean, like, it's hard to put in words for like what I want to build my car for. I want to make it a reliable daily driver, but at the exact same time, track friendly. You know what I mean? So like a taller car like a CRV, even if it was fast, like it has more body roll and more travel and stuff like that than my car. But I'm not saying it's like an ugly SUV or anything like that. If you were going to college or something like that, or if you had like multiple, like 4 or 5 people you need to transport and a bunch of shit and have cargo space, like CRV is not a bad car. It's just not my favorite, you know. It's not something I would see myself buying. One of my buddies in high school had a CRV and it wasn't a bad car or anything, but you know, it's not for me. Let's see, where are we at? Gear Runner says, I told my wife she needs to let me build her 2018 Civic Si on my channel. Do it. Dude, you should do what before I stop talking to Iceman Jay because he kind of flaked out. His mom has a 2017 or a 2018 Honda Accord. And I was like, dude, you should do the sleeper build. And he's like, what, make it just like fast and stock? Like look stock? I was like, no, like just like take her car and mod it out and like don't tell her that, you know, the hidden build, this like, you know, the under the radar build, like because he didn't have a car. And I was like, dude, just mod it and don't tell her. Cameron says NA here in Australia. Justin says that would be awesome. George Bonnie says, yeah, I got a TSX swapped one. Justin says TSX swapped CRV, awesome. Frankenstein one anyway. Wait, so you have the K20, K24 and a CRV? That's fucking badass. That's getting crafty right there. Sign me up. Okay, I'll take one now. See, they just need to start. Honda just needs to like embrace what all these DIY mechanics are doing, taking this head and slapping it on this block and making it a better car. They should just start like doing that from the like the fucking factory. Let's see. Justin says, I got to go to work. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for stopping in, man. Stone Cold, a.k.a. Adept Joe's here. Yes, Shades, bro. Yes, Adept Joe, bro. How's it going, man? But yeah, I was really surprised about S2000. I thought I was going to love it, but just something about it just didn't feel right. I was saying to my pop after we went for the test drive, and the dude was like, you want to talk numbers? And we went inside, and then I pulled out. I was like, literally like, hey, I'm not feeling this. We're not about to spend this much money on this car. I'm not even halfway into. I thought I was going to be into it, but it doesn't make sense. And when we got outside, I was smoking a cigarette, and I was literally like, dude, it feels like your wife just died and you're cheating on her, like, and trying to replace her with something that's not as sexy or something like that. And he was like, yeah, I can see what you mean. He's like, you've had that car for a long time. He's like, it's a weird analogy. I was like, dude, imagine like you had like your fucking significant other die, then you're trying to replace them with something else, and you're like, dude, I miss my old lady. She's dead. Gear Runner says, see you, Justin. Have a good day. Stone Cold says, how's it going today, dude? I woke up at 10 p.m. and I've been up since then. Because I went to sleep at like 4 in the afternoon because I was like super fucking tired because I only got 3 hours of sleep the night before. And then, you know, kind of like the letdown of the S2000. I was like, wow, that's an S2000. This sucks. I was like, you know, I'm going to sleep at 4. I'm getting my sleep. Woke up at 10, ate dinner, and I've been up since 10 p.m. True story. George says, you don't have to change cranks like you would making an A3 into an A2, if that makes sense. Yeah, you don't have to. No, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, if you do K20, K24, you don't have to change the crank. You just use the K24 crank. It's the oil pump. You got to shim down the Type S oil pump, and you got to what do you have to change? You have to change the I think the oil pump chain, and then you have to change the 50. You have to use the 50-degree VTC gear or something like that. Stone Cold says, what time is it there now? It's 7:30 a.m. Yep. Cameron says RSX at heart. It's just such a good car. Like, platform is all there. Has so many good things going for it. Lots of cargo space for a 2-seater coupe. I mean, not a 2-seater, but a 2-door coupe. It's, you know, easily modifiable. It's not like, you know, rocket science or something. And 6-speed, fucking does fairly decent on gas, even when you modify it. Gear Runner says, I do like my cars like my old girlfriends. I do my cars like my old girlfriends when I was younger. Changed them every time I took a shower. Oh, this man's a savage. Stone Cold says, does Eric still come here? He does. Cameron says I prefer the Integra to the FK8. Fuck yeah, dude. That's crazy that you own a RSX and Integra because you're in Australia and you have an FK8 as well, and you cater more to the RSX or Integra. That's awesome. Because I thought about getting the FK8, throwing down, making the payments, and I couldn't make myself do it. I was like, dude, it's like a $35,000 car that only makes 306 wheel horsepower on 22.5 pounds of boost. So crazy. Stone Cold Adept Joe says, why are you so attached to Honda shades? Why not, man? They run forever. And it's fun to take a small 4-cylinder engine and make it into something that can beat muscle cars. It's like underdog shit. I like the underdog, pretty much. Because you can buy a fast car. I mean, if we wanted a fast car, you could just buy, a Ferrari for $100,000 or a Lamborghini for $300,000. But there's no personalization in that. You know what I mean? And not to mention, you're spending $300,000 on a fucking car. You can buy a house for that. Because it's hilarious that these people, these rich people would spend like $250,000 on a car. And let's say, it's got 600, 700, 800 horsepower. And then there's kids that take a single cam fucking D series engine and turbo it and make 1,000 horsepower. And it's like a 2,700 pound car. And it literally destroys a Lamborghini like all day. That's awesome to me. It's the underdog. Stone Cold says fair enough. I mean, it's not like, I'm not saying like Honda Civics or, they're the sleekest looking cars. It's not like a friggin', like a Bugatti Veyron or something like that. Because some of those exotic cars, like the body lines, the McLarens and the Ferraris and all that stuff, they definitely look cooler, but you're paying $250,000 for a car. It better look cool. Stone Cold says, did you keep the loan shades or give it back? We're just keeping it, so now we have the money worked out for whatever I buy. George says, my buddy has a DSM and I've worked on it a ton and it's growing on me big time. A DSM? What's a DSM? Desert Silver Metallic? Duesenberg, seriously, man. Stone Cold says, how much did you borrow? $10K. Because I have like $2,000 from my insurance check, and then the shell of my car and all my parts and all that stuff, and then I have 10,000. So that gives me roughly like $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 somewhere in that area to work with. George says a 97 Eclipse factory turbo. Yeah, DSM. I was like, what the fuck is a DSM? Stone Cold says, is that enough for what you want? Yeah, money at this point is not an issue. It's not so much money that's an issue. It's a 16-year-old car I'm looking for, essentially a 2002 Acura RSX Type S. So literally, it's to find one that doesn't have rust, to find one that hasn't been like molested or abused or like riced out and all that stuff. It's really hard to find that. George says Diamond Motor something. Gear Runner says, how much is a good shape used RSX now? I've not looked them up in a while. If you're getting the 2002 to 2004 like Type S model, anywhere from, I've seen one as low as like, it has a lot of shit wrong with it though, like messed up interior and stuff, like $3,500 for like a crappy one, but it still runs. And then the higher end models about $5, $6, $7, even $8,000. And then the 2005 to 2006 model, those are going for like anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000, depending on mileage and condition. But like the 2002s, they're a little bit cheaper than the 05 to 06, just because a year, which is kind of silly because it's the exact same car. Not much difference. Stone Cold says, I guess they're rare to find. Yeah, the market right now, it's just like nationwide, it's not so hard, but like on the East Coast, within 200 miles of where I live, I mean, there's less than 20 to choose from, and they're like really like less than 10 that are worthy. That makes sense. And they have like high mileage. I mean, it's just, there's a place in Stafford, which is about an hour away from here, and they have one for like $6,000, and they're going to be sending me pictures because they don't even have pictures up on the website because they just got it in. So there's that. That's at like a dealership or auto mart place or something. And there's some on Craigslist, but they've all just been molested, dude. People have done stupid shit to them. They don't have the original wheels on them. They got like big 18-inch wheels on them that look like dog shit. And 18s on an RSX is like sacrilege. I don't like it. The biggest wheel size you can go on an RSX, in my opinion, is 17. Gear Hunter says, I know you have a ton of parts, but I see 370Zs on Auto Trader for around 10 to 11K. Yeah, it's 350Zs and 370Zs. I think they're cool, but like, I something about the body style I just can't really get with, honestly. Like, like they're fast and stuff like that, but it's like it's so rounded in the back. Something about it. And I know nothing about Nissans, honestly, except for like Skylines and 240s and stuff like that. It's just like it has like the body lines are like almost like an egg shape or something. They're so like rounded. Stone Cold says if it's a dealership, lowball them heavily. 350 is a bit womanly. I don't know about womanly. It's just something about the rounded body lines. I can't get with it. Gear Hunter said I had 18s on my Integra GSR. I had to go back down to 17s. It slowed the car down. I bet. If I had a GSR, I'd put like 15s or 16s on it, honestly. It's a littler the wheel. The more wheel horsepower you're going to put down because it's not as heavy and it's not going to have to, that motor's not going to have to work hard to spin the hubs. Because the heavier the wheel, the less wheel horsepower, basically. But that's an idea. I mean, thanks for the suggestion. I didn't even know 370s were 10 or 11 grand on Auto Trader. That's crazy. Very odd. I thought they would be more. I thought they'd be like 15 or 16 or something. Because fucking S2000s, that's the crazy thing about an S2000 is they're retaining their value like really not bad at all. Because that 2002, they wanted $16,000 for it, and then they were going to tack on damn near $1,000 for tags and licensing fee and dealer processing fee for a cash transaction. So like we were walking out the door, if we would have bought it, it would have been $17,400. I was like, fuck that. Like hell no. Gear Owner said it had 320 horsepower. I could tell a difference in the wheels. Yeah, dude, I bet. And 320 in a GSR? Goddamn. What turbocharger did you have on that beast? Cameron says 17 by 9, 30 offset, good fitment on the DC5. Yeah, for real. Like that's a meaty wheel, like 9 wide. I think the DC5 Integra Type R wheels that I have, they're 17 by 7. So that's over 2 inches wider. That's a lot of meat on the ground for real. George says, "Do you have anything lined up to test drive?" At this point, no. I'm just trying to scout DC5s. If you're on the East Coast and you know of anybody trying to sell a quality, proper example of a DC5 Type S, let me know, because yeah, I'm very disappointed that supercharged one didn't work out, because honestly, for 12.5, that was a really good deal. But that fucking guy, man, that shit is ridiculous. Like, I sent Elias up there to fucking test drive it, scout it for me, make sure it is what it is and all that stuff. And he shot a video for it and had fun and said the dude seemed nice. And then dude just bitched out. Like, literally. I'd been talking, we'd been going back and forth, like arranging, lining up the money and the transaction for like 2 weeks. Shit is crazy. Cameron says S2000s hold their value, their sale value, but insurance companies value them a lot lower. Good to know. Yeah, I would imagine the insurance is it's a two-seater, so the insurance is instantly more. Convertible, sports car, roadster. It's gonna be some insurance right there. Gear Runner says, I had a 75 shot of NOS, intake, exhaust, VTEC controller, header, throttle body, aluminum flywheel, stage 3 clutch, and a few more mods. Damn. Getting there, man. That's the wild style route, getting a 75 shot of NOS on there, so giving no fucks. Like, fuck this motor. I mean, 75 shot, that's not like a whole bunch. It's as long as you're not using it all the time. I bet that motor, 75 shot, I would love to put a 75 shot on my car. That'd be funny as shit. Some of that go baby go juice. Fucking but yeah, it's definitely a very slim market for RSXs in quality condition. Like, I found one an hour away on Craigslist. I found two actually that are up in near Justin. They're like up in the Charlottesville area. This dude wants $5,000 or best offer for a satin silver one that looks it looks similar because it's the same car, same paint color and stuff like that. Fucking essentially, it's not in horrible condition, but he's got like really shitty wheels on it, like some 18-inch like blah blah wheels, some kind of fart can exhaust, and like, this and that. I almost want to tell him I'd give him $3,000 for it if he can keep his wheels and keep his exhaust and keep his pseudo fake carbon fiber intake. Just be like, dude, I'll just buy it. Like, keep your shit. I don't want it. Gear Runner says it was fun. Dude, I bet. Wait, did you wreck it or sell it? I can't remember. I think we've talked about it before. It's been so long. Cameron says nitrous is a chemical supercharger. That it is. Gear Runner says sold it. How much did you get for it? The only cheaper car that's not DC5 related that I've seen that I've kind of been like, oh, that's kind of cool. There's this DC2 that's got a H2B swap in it, like H22 with a B20 VTEC block, I think, or H22 block with a B20 VTEC head. No, I think it's the other way around though. I think it's a B20 block and an H22 head. That thing looks pretty cool, but he wants like, I think he wants like 3,500 for it, which isn't a lot of money, but Gear Hunter says, I think I got 9K with all the stuff off of it and then sold the upgrades for 4K. What? This must have been a while ago, like 5 years, 6 years ago. Because back then, 5 years ago, my car was probably worth like $13,000 without the parts, like just if you put stock parts back on it. Gear Hunter says, when I got married, my wife had a 2000 Mustang GT. paid for and I owed on the Integra. My fucking grandmom used to have a 2000 Mustang GT, or like a 2004, I think. It was silver and it had red leather interior. It was fucking awesome. Gear Runner says it was around 8 years ago and it only had like 56,000. Yeah, there you go. That's a good example. If I could find an RSX with 56,000 miles on it, oh my God. That'd be amazing. Gear Runner says the GT had intake exhaust and chipped ECU with a stage 3 clutch. Damn. That thing would be nasty. Hell yeah. Yeah, it almost makes me on a completely another plateau of car buying experience was get something really old like 70s or 60s or something like that. Get like a fucking, I don't even know, Chevy Impala or fucking Buick Skylark or something like that. That'd be hilarious. Gear Runner says we sold it to her brother. Booyah. Old school's here. What up, man? He says early as fuck, bro. What up, though? Just rolled over from being dead, Holmes. It's 7:47, Walker. Past that shit. Yeah, it's early. I woke up at 10 p.m., so I've been up since 10 p.m. True story. And ironically, I was being handyman earlier because I went downstairs to make coffee, and our ceiling light in the kitchen, it's like tube fluorescent bulb lights. Fucking I flipped the switch and nothing happened. I was like, I look and I leave it on for a second, and like one of the bulbs kind of flickers. There's like 4 tube bulbs. So I was like, are they all burned out? That's kind of weird because they weren't burned out yesterday. And I took the whole fucking thing apart, and the ballast burned out. For real though, I think I'm jonesing for some car to work on. So I'm like, dude, I'll just take apart the ceiling light. We're gonna figure this shit out. Gear Runner says I really need something fast again. I'm jonesing, dude. You and me both. I'm taking apart fucking kitchen lights and shit. Let's fix this shit. Let's turbo it. Old school says no. It's 40. It's 447 Falker. For real though, it is. It's on that Cali time, dude. I need to go out west and just like take a plane ticket out to Cali, find an RSX and drive it back 3,000 miles. That'd be fucking awesome. Kick it with all the homies out there. Go hit up Honda Vlogs, fucking Old School, Young Static, Sadowski, all y'all. Fucking hit up Broke Dead Garage on the way through Arizona. Oh yeah. Make a pilgrimage, a Honda pilgrimage. True story. That'd be fucking crazy. I think the longest I've ever driven was to Chicago. That was 16 hours. Man, that was a drive. Did that shit in like 20 hours, or not 20. I think it was like 22 hours or something like that. I mean, it's 16 hours, but I think I did it in 22 hours. Like we drove 10 hours. I slept for like 3 or 4 hours and then knocked out the other 6 hours. So whatever that is, be 10, be like 20 or 22 hours, I think. Old School says, come through, Holmes. We out here. That's right. That sunny, that eternal sunshine weather. They got that good weather and that good weed. Old School, you ever see any DC2 Type R's for sale out there? Like legit ones, like not like, not a swap or like, a conversion, like a true DC2 Type R. Have you ever seen any of those for sale out there? If so, let me know, because I'd be in the market for one of those, honestly. That'd be a fucking sweet car to get. Old school says, hell nah, bro, never. It's so hard to find one, dude. I want one. I'd be so fucking fun if I could find a championship white one or a Berlina black one, not the yellow one, because not. It's not that I wouldn't. If I could find a yellow one, I'd probably take it, honestly. But Broke Dad Garage Type Rusty, he's already got the yellow one. So if I could find the championship white one or the Berlina black one, oh my god, never sell that car. They only made 668 of them. Like, that's fucking crazy. That's like super low numbers. That's some special shit right there. But yeah, honestly, at this point, DC5, that's where I'm at. If I could afford it, I would, hands down, entertain the notion of getting an R32 Skyline. Old school says, "Yeah, bro, you're asking for miracles, dude. Dude, it's like literally trying to ask a fucking magic genie, hey, can you find me a Berlina black or championship white DC2? Low miles." I mean, hell, I'd even take one if it was high miles, like 150,000 miles. Just freshen it up a bit, you know? George says, is building something out of the question? No, that's probably what we're going to be doing, honestly, because finding a clean RSX, man, it's not doable. You have like one of three ways. You either have one that was stock and it's just shitty condition, high miles. Two, you have one that's high miles and somebody's riced the fuck out of it with the wrong parts and just the wrong wheels and just all the shit is not there. And I don't trust it because you can see that those people are into the tuner thing, but clearly they didn't do shit clean. And usually the people that aren't doing shit clean are the same people that don't drive good and do shit stupid. And I don't trust the mechanical. They might not have mechanical sympathy. You know what I mean? Joe, I already read that. Old school says, "Wow, dude, hold the fucking phone. R32, what? Easy, dude." Yeah, we get them here, like in Virginia. There's a place that imports them, but dude, these import houses, they want like 30 grand for one, man. 30. I don't got 30. I got like 15. 15, 20 tops, and 20 would be like a fucking stretch, a big stretch. Because 17, like for the S2000 after the fees and shit, like my pop was like, I mean, we can make it work, but if you better be happy with it. And I was like, I'm not happy with it. I don't want it for 17. I want it for like 10. And I didn't even want it, honestly. I was like, there's a 2-seater. Can't fit shit. I'm 6'2". I got no leg room. Feel cramped as fuck. Old school says, yeah, I was about to say like 35 grand at least for that bad boy. Yeah, this place J-Spec. I've seen a black R32, a white R32. They have a burgundy Skyline GTS TT. And they wanted like 22 for that one, but I would just get the GTR R32, honestly. That's the one I would get if I was going to get one. I'd love the idea if they would import me a DC5 Type R, but I know they well want $20,000+ for that car because they're trying to make a fucking profit, like double their money at least. Like, let's say they get it for like anywhere from 7 to 10 grand, and they're like, yeah, 20 grand. George says there's a base model RSX on Facebook around Morgantown, West Virginia. How much do they want for it? Because the base models, I can find base models here. Like, and if I was gonna just gut the motor out and put a Type S motor in it, you know, that's one way you can do it. You save money. But question is, I don't know if my motor's mechanically sound anymore. I don't know. I gotta fucking buy a fuel pump. I gotta buy another fuel pump just to see if my motor's any good, which is more money out the pocket. Old School says, need coffee. In my best zombie voice, bro. Be right back. Get your Java, man. It's like, need coffee. I drink to that. George says my buddy originally sold that car for $2,100, I think. Yeah, 2,100 is not too bad, honestly, especially if I don't need the motor out of it. So, like, let's say it's real high miles. As long as there's no rust on the chassis and the interior is black. But that's not a deal breaker necessarily, because I could just replace the interior with Type R interior. Get the red carpet or blue carpet, blue Recaros. You know, because I'm saving some. If it's only basically $2,000, I mean, then I got 10 more grand to spend basically. So Type S motor, $3,500, 3,000 maybe on a good day. Then I know my transmission's good, so even just getting a long block without the transmission and the ECU and the wiring harness is probably like $1,500 probably. And then interior would be like $1,500 for a set of Recaros, like $250 for the carpet and $250 for the back seats, and already got a dashboard. So I mean, there's a lot of shit, you know, there's a lot of ways to do this, you know. George says I still got the original A3 in my garage. I'm A2ing. What do you mean by A2ing? It's like, how are you A2ing it? Because it's an A3. Wouldn't you rather just get an A2? Because you still, like, if you have the A3, you got a 5-speed transmission with different gear ratio, or, you know, like final drive and the gear ratios and stuff like that. And A2 is, it's like 20 horsepower more. I think the A3 to the wheels puts down like 150 or something, or 160 or something like that. And the fucking A2 puts down like 180. I'm eager to know. I've heard of people, you know, taking Type S head and, you know, K24 bottom end. I've never heard of anybody converting an A3 into an A2. Because that sounds kind of cool. Because an A3 motor costs like $300 and a fucking Type S motor costs like $3,000. Do tell. I want more Honda hacks. I'm all about saving that money. I mean, at this point, I mean, you could even go K24 A2, just put the TSX motor in there and then drive it around and enjoy it in the RSX and fucking slap the head on later and, you know, the oil pump and all that stuff. George says crank, connecting rods, pistons, head, pretty much everything. I don't know why the fuck I'm doing it besides it's cheap, just a block, really. So you're rebuilding the motor. Yeah, I mean, good learning experience. Good way to save money for sure. You gotta do it yourself, or I mean, pretty much do it yourself, because if you're trying to save money, if you pay anybody to put that motor together for you, it's gonna be pretty expensive. Because if I honestly, I think if I fucking do the Frankenstein swap, I'm definitely putting it together myself, even if I've never done it before. It's one, good content, two, saving money, because building motors is super expensive. Like something I never realized, like if you take, let's say you take this shit to your tech and you say, hey, I want a K20, K24 swap, because I've talked to him about it. And I asked him how much it would cost for him to build that motor for me, to slap everything together and do it right, because he knows how to do his shit. He was like, about $2,500. I was like, for the labor? I was like, I'm including all the shit. And he's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, God damn. And then let's say you just said to him, hey, I want you to take my RSX Type S motor out of my car and put a TSX motor in there. He's like, bet $1,000 or $1,200. I'm like, that cheap? Okay, that's not that bad. I mean, it's not cheap, but compared to building a motor versus just taking a motor out, it's like, that's fucking crazy. It's like double the price. George says, it's not hard, bro, but I have to buy all that shit anyway if you're building for boost. Yeah, build it. True. Very true. George says, shit. Oh, I got you. Yeah. See, I'm the typo master. Like family, like you said, buy all that shut anyway, but I got you. I know what you're talking about. I'm that context thinker, man. But yeah, it's not, when you do it, like when you just like look at the context, like read it in the manual or torque specs or any of that stuff, or the fucking the tightening pattern for the head, do it in a star pattern or like on the flywheel and stuff like that. Like all of that makes sense to me on paper. It's not like daunting at all. It's just like when you're doing it yourself and you've never done it before, you don't have the hands-on experience, do K series like fucking Frankenstein swaps and shit. It's just intimidating because if you fuck up, you fuck up. Like you're gonna fuck some shit up and lose money, basically, break some shit. That's the only thing I worry about, basically. It's like it's expensive. If you fuck up, you really fuck. You fucked up. You fucked up. What is this?
Rev up your engine.
Oh, Scotty Kilmer. Have you guys seen this? You guys watch 802 Garage? He did this Scotty Kilmer parody video, spoof video that's like super fucking funny. He was like making fun of Scotty Kilmer because Scotty Kilmer said that, don't buy a turbocharged car. That parody, that shit is funny as hell. George Bonnie says, the VHB got 3 vids on A2 and an A3. It's awesome. VHB engines. I've never heard of that channel. I'll have to check it out, man. No wonder I've never heard of it. Yeah, actually, I'm going to type that in now so I don't forget it. VHB engines. $4,000 subs. Damn.
Okay, guys. I promise you, it may seem like it, but this is not going to be a rant video. I don't.
Beeyaw. George says you gotta. I'm subscribed, man. I'm taking your word for it. Didn't even watch a video yet. I'm already subscribed. But yeah, fucking yeah, I think K20, K24 Ultimate, or even just K24 A2 for a while, TSX motor for a while. Throw it in a semi not bad condition shell. swap over my parts and shit like that. It'd be amazing. Then go full fucking Frankenstein swap down the road. Because, like, it's to the point now, like, the part of me that wants to just buy a car and drive it is the part. I haven't had my fucking RSX for a month now. Like, literally a month. It's been 1 month and a day since I've lost my car. So, like, I just miss having the access to drive that car and enjoy it. So it's like, it's not that I don't want to build something. It's like, I'm just like itching to get back in my car. That's the part of me that doesn't want to build something like do K20, K24 swap. It's that shit's gonna take a minute. Especially when you're learning it too. But yeah, fucking true story. Oh, yeah, man. I can't believe I've been up for 10 hours. George says, I feel your pain, sir. Thank you. Much obliged, man. It sucks. And the irony was, you would have thought with the S2000 when I test drove it, you would have thought I was having a ball. Like, this dude hasn't cracked no VTEC in a month. It wasn't that impressive, honestly. Like, I haven't driven a stick shift in a month. It was easy to drive. I'll say that. It wasn't hard to drive or anything. I wasn't like stalling out like, oh, you haven't driven in a month. But like, it wasn't anything like that. It was literally like, dude, this thing's lacking. Needs more torque. Gonna have to throw a supercharger on this motherfucker to justify buying it. So 17 grand, then another 3 or 4 grand for a supercharger setup. It's too expensive. Too expensive. That's the thing about like RSX, like it's not nearly as expensive to work on. Parts are not nearly as expensive. Shit, that's another aspect too. Fucking doing fucking the A3 motor and just fully building it and turboing it. That's one route. Because for the money that it costs to get an A3 motor, it's like less than $1,000 all day. It's like $300 or $400 for an A3 motor. Just take it apart, fully build it. Wide scope pistons, fucking eagle rods, high compression or low compression because it's boosted, and crank up the boost. Because my buddy in high school, he had the fucking Civic EP3, and he fully built the A3. Nasty. Spent a fuckload of money, and it probably spent like, I think between the motor, the wheels, the paint, the body, the interior, like everything, he probably spent like 60 grand in that car. And he cranked up the boost like to 20 plus pounds and literally ran a 10.6 in the quarter mile. I was like, that's crazy. He had a big old turbo on that motherfucker. He wasn't messing around. But yeah, guys, fucking that pretty much touches base on you know, what's going on. We're definitely back on the RSX Integra page. S2000s are out of the loop now. It's not what I'm looking for. If I had space in that car, if it wasn't so cramped and it, you know, windshield didn't have like lack of visibility and, you know, the oversteer and all that stuff, and it was cheaper, I'd probably consider it, but something about it just didn't feel right. It goes back to what Justin said. He kind of hit the nail on the head about the RSX. He said an RSX is just such a all across the board good car. It's pretty quick. It's practical. It's comfortable. It's got back seats, you know. It's not a 2-seater roadster, you know what I mean? That's what I like about it. You know, it doesn't have to be an uncomfortable car to be fast, basically. Because the S2000, man, for fucking 9 grand rev, the 9 grand rev in that car stock blows. I thought it was going to be amazing. It really wasn't that amazing. Like my car fucking rev limit or fuel cuts like 8,600. I'd rather have my car with K-Pro rev limit and 8,600 than a stock S2000 doing $9,000 at fuel cut. George Bonnie says, gotta go, got to get ready for work. Nice talking, sir. I'll see you soon. Live streaming tomorrow tonight. Yeah, fucking I'm not sure if I'll be. It's like 8 in the morning right now. It depends when I go to sleep. Because I fucking woke up at 10 p.m. So that's probably gonna throw my sleep schedule off. But if I'm up tonight, like at 8, I'll probably live stream again. See if I find anything on the hunt. But yeah. Thanks for stopping in, man. Thanks for suggesting that channel. I'll check it out. And have a good day, man. Damn, we still got 3 on the head counter. Who's left here? Who we got left? Who is left in here? Cameron. Cameron's one of them. I don't know who the 2 other people are. Who we got left? I want that roll call. Cameron says been listening and watching TV. What you watching on TV, man? Excuse me. Wing King's here. What up, Wing? Says FA5 is the greatest chassis. Man, it's just the 5s, man. DC5, FA5. Anything with a 5. Fuck it. They need to bring back the S2000 and make it better. Make it an AP5. Cameron says Hell's Kitchen at the moment, waiting on the replay of the F1 to come on. Nice, nice. Wing, how you doing, man? Are you embracing the grind? 8 o'clock in the morning. That's right. Yeah, when I was thinking about that S2000, the first thing I thought about if I was going to get it, which obviously I didn't, was sending you the valve cover. Do that spoon yellow again. Fuck it. You're like, yeah, I got this F20 fucking valve cover for you to do. We're doing all of the basically everything you did. We're doing it all over, but on an S2000. But now we don't have to do that. We don't have to. Cameron says DC5. Oh. Wing King says FD2, the greatest Type R. That's debatable. You're right. FD2 was pretty special. One thing I like more about the FD2, The Brembos. I don't know if I've told you this before or not. The red Brembos on the FD2. Instead of it saying Brembo, it says Civic Type R. True story. Why didn't the DC5 Type R get Brembos that said Integra Type R? That would be fucking badass. Literally. Ooh. Wing King says, back to work. Do your thing. But yeah, guys, that pretty much sums up this morning's stream. I'm going to probably eat some breakfast and pass out because I've been up since 10 o'clock p.m. Getting close to 12 hours. Pretty tired already. The hunt is on. The grind is real. We're looking for a fucking DC5 of proper caliber. I said caliber. But yeah, guys, I'll catch y'all later. Might stream later tonight or something, depending on when I wake up, and I'll keep y'all posted. Keep the hunt going. Look in your area. If you see a good RSX, let your boy Shades Wade know, because I'm shopping. Old School says, all right, bro, have a good day, dude. Thanks for the wake up. Hey, take it easy, man. Enjoy that coffee. I'm about to go get me another cup.